Most people don't understand this concept. So your metabolism is the process through which your body converts the food you eat into energy. Metabolism will vary from person to person. Scientists are not exactly sure why, but we do agree that part of the variation has to do with composition of fat versus composition of muscle in one's body. It is also assumed, interestingly enough, right, that men with higher testosterone level have a higher and faster metabolism because they've got more muscle on their bodies. Not always true, but for the most part. That also changes as we age. So for everyone, metabolic energy burn occurs in three main ways, and this is something that can be a little confusing. Resting metabolism, RMR, the energy used to keep your organs working and basically to stay alive. This accounts for anywhere from 50 to 70% of the total calories you burn. 2, thermic effect of food, the energy used to digest what you eat and turn it into energy, about 10% of the calories that you burn, thermic effect of food, or TEF. Third is what people think makes up all of your calorie burn, which is physical activity. It makes up about 30% of your calorie burn. Purposeful exercise, like hitting the gym, is usually a very small portion of this energy expenditure. Mostly we're talking about the energy used to move around. So, this is where it comes to the kicker. When you lose weight, your metabolism slows, in part through simple physics, but calorie burn is in some sense proportional or energy balanced to your body weight. So, what you need to know is that for every person, there's a different equation, right? So the heavier you are, the more calories it costs to move around and the more calories it costs to kind of basically maintain that body at rest, if you will. If you choose to try to lose weight, again, you're going to need to make changes that you can live with or you can sustain for the long haul, or you're not going to keep that weight off. In other words, make changes that you actually like and enjoy. Pick activities you actually like and enjoy because you'll need to stick with them to keep the weight off. That's because losing weight triggers biological mechanisms. Listen, we know that those make it harder to keep the weight off already. These biological mechanisms include a slower metabolism. Metabolism seems to act as a spring, if you will, a little spring. The more effort you put into losing weight, the more you can stretch that spring out, that is, lose weight. But if you let up on the tension of the spring by stopping whatever you're doing with your eating and your exercise routine, this has helped you to lose weight. Now your metabolism will spring back. In essence, you'll regain the weight that you lost. So your body does persistently fight back and try to make you regain the weight that you have lost. Bummer, right? Big bummer. So basically this means whatever changes you make to your diet or your physical activity have to be kept pretty much permanently to avoid the weight regain. Or you're going to have to accommodate for that with your nutrition. Hormones in your brain conspire to make you hungrier when you lose weight as well. So this is another physiological thing that happens people don't understand. So here's another diabolical change that happens when you lose weight. Your hormones change in ways that alter your appetite. While a lot of different hormones are involved in hunger, one of them is leptin, which is released by fat cells. Basically, these tell your brain when to eat, when to stop, and as you lose weight, your leptin levels drop. So again, when that happens, it's like a starvation signal. And a lot of times, people seem to want to eat even more and more and more than they were eating before to kind of rapidly recover that weight loss. It's not entirely physiological though. To lose weight, what you eat is more important than how much you exercise. And you can see that because I went over the top 3 circumstances. For most folks, exercise is just a minor player in weight loss. The fact is, it's a lot easier to cut out 600 calories by skipping a Starbucks muffin than it is to burn it off by running for an hour or more, which, by the way, you will not burn 600 calories doing unless you're a machine. What's more, people tend to use exercise as an excuse to let themselves eat more. When that happens, they tend to eat more calories as a reward than they actually burnt off at the gym or doing cardio. Or they might compensate by crashing out on the sofa and moving a little bit less. Now, normally, I would say this is not a common thing that happens, but that shouldn't be a reason not to exercise. Just don't do it so that you can earn a piece of chocolate, a cheat day, a cheat meal, piece of cake. There are many documented benefits to exercise that have nothing to do with weight loss, including better overall energy, mood, sleep, reduced anxiety and depression, better blood sugar levels, etc., etc. On the other hand, exercise seems to play a big role in maintaining a lower weight. So don't stop doing it. But a lot of what we know about how people maintain weight over the long haul comes from the National Weight Control Center registry, and this database of people across the US has lost at least 30 pounds and has kept that weight off for at least a year. The number one thing that these people all have in common is one, they exercise religiously every day. Now that doesn't mean that they spend hours in the gym or do grueling workouts. The most popular form of exercise among this group is actually walking. Pretty cool, right? So you don't have to go and hit the weights. However, we did see that those who did walking alongside strength training long-term managed their weight loss better doing resistance training and other activities having variety. So it's not specifically one activity that's associated with the success. I think more than anything, it's the volume of activity. It's how you enjoy it. One of the reasons that people seem to be okay with maintaining this while they lose weight is that it helps to counteract some of these biological mechanisms that will slow and kick in when you start to lose weight. So the activity definitely can help to decrease the hunger if you pull back just a little bit as you're reducing calories. You may want to eat a little bit differently because you're going to be dropping that metabolism as you drop more weight. You got to fill that energy gap either by doing a lot more exercise or by eating a little bit less. But that's where people go wrong. Many people assume that they need to keep dropping and dropping calories to keep the weight off long term, that they have to eat less and less and less forever. And even those on the National Weight Control Registry seem to think so. They report eating an average of about 1,400 calories a day, but I know that those numbers are much less. And in a recent study that shows this isn't necessarily true at all, they underreported and overate more often than not. We looked at people who lost an average of 58 pounds and had kept it off for an average of 9 years, and the researchers took sophisticated measurements of these people and their metabolisms and found that these people were burning about 2,500 calories a day, but since their weights were stable, that meant they were also eating 2,500 calories a day, about as much as they used to consume when they were a little bit heavier. Interesting, right? That could go alongside the set point theory. The reason they could eat this way not gain the weight back is despite now having slower resting metabolic rates, they were now exercising way more than when they were heavier. So now they're not gaining the weight back. Now they were doing the equivalent of about 40 minutes a day of moderate to vigorous exercise. So, in turn, we need all of these components: thermic effect of food, natural RMR, and exercise. So, there's no shortcut, but what do we do with all this knowledge? Easy. Knowing how this biology works might make you decide that the stress of weight loss isn't worth it, given all the hurdles. And we don't know everything about why some people manage to keep their weight off in the first place. So, we only know about why people don't. You might decide to try to lose weight anyway, and if you do, please consider doing it the healthy way, rethinking your end goal. Instead of trying to look like a magazine cover, perhaps focus on changes internally that make you feel better.